Hey guys, Patrick Wind here, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to apply the full funnel strategy to the brand new iOS 14 environment. This will help you to profitably scale and measure in 2021. In order to achieve that, I've prepared for you a 10-step checklist full of practical action items that you should apply to your own ad account right now. Because we're experiencing one of the biggest challenges in the world of Facebook and Instagram ads. I'm in this industry since 2012, and I'm sure that also many of you have already become true ad masters, knowing exactly how to optimize the algorithm, how to set up the right campaign structure, how to define the right bid strategy. And many of you have been able to generate a lot of money for your clients or for yourself. But this, unfortunately, from now on is going to be a little bit more difficult because of data protection and privacy issues. Not only with the brand new iOS 14 update from Apple, but also with Google Chrome blocking third-party cookies, so on and so forth. And in order to show you that this is real, that this takes place already right now, I would like to do a little exercise with you. So if you're an iPhone user, take out your phone, okay? If you're not an iPhone user, if you use Android, you can see it here on the screen. But if you're an iPhone user, take out your phone, right? Put it next to you, okay? And what you do is you go to settings, okay? You open up the settings, and then you scroll all the way down to Safari, click on Safari, then you scroll a little bit down, below tabs, you see privacy and security. And you see that already right now, per default, it prevents cross-site tracking, fraudulent website warning, and you can actively even activate block all cookies. First thing. Second thing, now, let's go out of settings and go and open Safari. Okay, open Safari as a normal app. Go to your browser and go to whatever landing page. I would recommend to go to adsaccelerator.com, for example. This way you are inside my retargeting funnel. Woo! But now, go to adsaccelerator.com, and then at the left top, where here it says this sign, okay, on the iPhone there will be a small A and a bigger A. You click on that, and the last part, okay, says something like privacy settings. You click on that, and then it's gonna open up this thing here. It's gonna tell you exactly how many trackers is Safari blocking already in this second. For example, the Forbes, GoDaddy, Facebook ads, Google AdSense, Bing, Twitter, Hotjar, LinkedIn, all of these trackers is what already blocked, okay? And the big thing is definitely this notification that users see when they open the Facebook app, okay? They have to actively allow that Facebook is going to track their activity across other companies and websites. And obviously this is going to hurt us as advertisers pretty badly. There are three issues. First one, attribution. Obviously, if we bring traffic to our website, and on the website, the user buys within our Facebook and Instagram ads, within the customized columns, we can clearly see how many people added to the shopping cart, how many people initiated the checkout process, how many bought. But if we cannot track them, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna be possible to attribute these sales. And we're more or less blind. That's not ideal, but it's also not the end of the world for me, because if I spend 10,000 euros on ads, and in my Shopify store, in my WooCommerce store, in Kajabi, whatever, I see I've generated 50,000 euros, it's still okay. I mean, it's not ideal, but it's also not the end of the world if I cannot track that well, because I can also track in Google Analytics, for example. The second issue, which is a bigger issue from my point of view, is that the Facebook algorithm needs quite a lot of data points to really optimize properly. Like all of these broad audiences, like instead of working with interests, instead of working with lookalike audiences, like really focusing on a broad audience, like men between 25 and 40 in Germany, okay? And these broad audiences, they worked really well. But why did they work well? Because they gained a lot of data points and therefore were able to optimize properly. But if we're not able to track these people, that's gonna be more and more complicated now. And the third issue, which obviously is one of the most important ones, is how are we going to retarget these Apple users if they add something to the shopping cart and do not purchase, if we cannot track them? And retargeting obviously is the backbone of the full funnel strategy. And therefore, in this video, I'm going to present you a couple of solutions to that, okay? And which is even worse is that we're not the only ones who are prevented to track not only Facebook and Instagram ads, but also Google ads, YouTube ads, Snapchat ads, Twitter, TikTok ads, LinkedIn, Pinterest. And many of you might feel like this gentleman right now, because how are we going to attribute? How are we going to optimize the algorithm? How are we going to retarget? Well, that's a real problem, right? But what's the solution? Ta-dum, ta-dum, ta-da! The full funnel strategy, obviously. And the full funnel strategy needs to be applied to this brand new environment. So therefore, let's get the basics right first, okay, from this iOS 14 environment. And therefore, I've prepared for you this 10-step checklist to really get ready for all of the iOS 14 things that you need to have in consideration right now. And this information is not just only based on my own experience and all the conversations we have in our masterminds, but also on the official resources from the Facebook newsroom for developers, from this article like preparing your partners for iOS 14 actions for mobile advertisers. And of course, you can definitely also take a look at all of these informations in the internet. You can search the entire internet, which I recommend you actually to do to find even more information. But what I'm going to present you today are insights, okay, which are the 10 actual action items that you need to do, that you need to take in your account to make it work from now on, okay? And these items are these 10, which we're going to discuss now in more detail. And at the end, I'm also going to summarize them once again, okay? First, the resource center. Inside your own ad account, you have the ads tab, ad sets, campaigns, and at the very left, you have the resource center, okay? And here at the resource center, Facebook helps us to prepare for these iOS 14 changes, okay? On the right, you have some theoretical information, okay? But on the left, which is, from my point of view, the most important, you have these practical tasks, okay? And homework for you from this moment on, please make sure that there are not any warnings anymore on the left side. So for me, it says review pixels that will no longer be available, review available conversion rates. All of these warnings, you need to solve them. How to do it? Well, you basically just click on the arrow and then it says, hey, you have to do this and that. And then you click there and it takes you exactly to the spot where you need to change it. Okay, so that's really great. It's like real practical recommendations from this Facebook Resource Center that you need to do homework from now on. And what you see here, for example, verify your website domain is already green. That's something that every one of you has to do. And how is it done? Like this domain verification, it's inside brand safety, okay? But many of the students of our Ads Accelerator program have said, yeah, brand safety, that's great. But here I'm in brand safety, but it's not there exactly. So it's not there. It's in another tab, which is the business settings tab, okay? Inside business settings, on the left, you see users, accounts, data sources, and another time, brand safety. Unfortunately, Facebook is redundant here with the labeling. So they have one tab that's called brand safety, and that one is called business settings. And inside business settings, you have brand safety as a subcategory. Okay, and here you have to go. Here it says domains, right? Domains, block list, and you click on domains. And then you basically just add one, for example, Patrick Wind or adsaccelerator.com, and don't verify Patrick Wind, it's mine. No, obviously you can't, because then you have to do one out of three things, either DNS verification, HTML file upload, or meta tag verification. DNS verification you can do, for example, with GoDaddy if you have your website there. Or what I recommend you guys, which is the easiest thing to do, is the meta tag verification. Strong recommendation. If you're not a programmer and you want to make your life as easy as possible, you just copy paste this little snippet here, which says meta name Facebook domain verification. Okay, you copy that, and then you go to your own website, either in WordPress or in Kajabi or in Wix or wherever. Okay, and you go to the header of the page. That's where you also install the base code of the pixel. So it's just in the header, which flies with the user all the time. So just in the header, you copy, paste this little tag, okay? And then you save it and it's all good. And once you have verified the domain, you're gonna see it like this. And super important, it's not by default done, but it's super important for you that you connect the Facebook pages. Okay, so you have the domain, then you connect, for example, in my case, Patrick Wind and Ads Accelerator. And additionally, what you can also do is now your domain has become an asset of this business manager. Like the pixel is an asset, the ad account is an asset, the page is a Facebook page, the Instagram profile, these are all assets. And from now on, also the domain has become an asset of this business manager. And what are other agencies going to do if they want to run ads to your domain, right? So what you need to do is you can share, like as all the other assets, you can now share also your domain with business partners. And that's what you do here. Once we have verified the domain, we can and we should and we have to define the 8 conversion events that matter to most to us, where we do this in Events Manager. And then on the right bottom, you see aggregated event measurements. And here you basically select the domain that you have verified, and you can either define events based on the pixel or on custom conversions. Custom conversions is nice because it's just connected to the domain. But this brings us to a huge issue. In my own business, for example, we're having 2 ad accounts, okay? One for our Facebook ad course, which is the upper one, the Ads Accelerator pixel, and the lower one, which is for our academy, where we teach our students how to become highly successful digital marketing freelancers or start their own agency, okay? 2 different businesses, 2 different ads managers, 2 different pixels, okay? And both of them are still installed. That's a screenshot from this morning, okay? So both pixels are installed. But if you then want to select these 8 events, Facebook is like, wah, wah, wah. You can only select the events from one pixel, which is connected to the domain, right? So super important learning for you guys. You can have as many ad accounts as you want. You can put as many pixels to your website as you want, but it's not gonna bring you anything, okay? So the reality is from now on, you're going to only have one pixel with one domain, okay? And what I did, for example, to solve this issue a little bit is inside my 2 ad accounts, I connected the main pixel to the domain, and for the second ad account, I shared my original pixel to the second ad account. So I have one domain with one pixel, but I have 2 ad accounts. The first one has the original pixel, so to say, and for the second one, I shared my original pixel, and that's the way that I solved it, so that I can still maintain these 2 ad accounts. Another issue that we're facing in the next couple of months is that Google Chrome is most likely going to block the Facebook pixel, which is a complete additional story. But what you should already do, if you already set up all of these things properly, is that you should activate Conversions API. Conversions API helps you to do server-side based tracking. Okay, it sounds complicated, but it's very easy. Okay, instead of tracking via the browser, it goes one level deeper and tracks via the server. Okay, you can do this in 2 different ways. You can either set it up manually, which requires a bit of programming skills, and I would not recommend it so much if you're not a programmer. But the second one is easy: set up through a partner integration. If you set it up through a partner integration, for example, with WordPress, WooCommerce, Magento, you can easily just click there. There's a plugin, and it's super easy to install. If you have Shopify, it's also really easy to activate, because you just go to the sales channels. Okay, you see here, for example, the sales channel Facebook. You click there on the sales channel Facebook, and then in data sharing settings, you have standard, enhanced, and maximum. By default, it's at enhanced, and you have to change it to maximum. Okay, and maximum combines all data tracking options to reach the highest amount of customers. It uses Conversions API, which shares data directly from Shopify servers to Facebook. This means the data can't be blocked by ad blockers. Woohoo! Pretty good idea, right? And now, even though we are enabling Conversions API, we have our domain verified, we have the 8 conversion events defined, there's still another issue that we're hitting right now, which is the new attribution windows. As you can see here, these were the previous attribution windows, like 1, 7, or 28 days post-view or post-click. And from now on, from this moment on, the entire 28 days attribution is gone. it's not there anymore. And also the 7 days post view attribution is not available anymore. So only 1 day click, 7 day click, and 1 day view attribution is possible. And in order to still track properly the performance of your own Facebook and Instagram ads, what I recommend all of you guys from this specific moment on is to work with UTMs, okay? UTMs help you to analyze everything inside Google Analytics. So open up a Google Analytics account, and then inside Google Analytics, within acquisition, campaigns, you'll see that there you can see the UTM that you put as a campaign, source, medium, okay? So what you define is going to be easily interpretable there. You can do this either with this tool, which you can just Google for like UTM builder, and then it shows up this one. Or what I recommend you, which is equally as easy, is on ad level. So not campaign, not ad set, but ad level. You can, at the very bottom, you scroll down, and then you see this build URL parameters. And there's a campaign source. I would simply do Facebook. As a campaign medium, what I typically do is either prospecting or retargeting. So I say pro or red or whatever. And then as a campaign name, what I do is I use dynamic elements. So for example, here the campaign name, ad set name, ad name, or placements, whatever you want. I typically take the campaign name there. Another really, really big important item for you is to thoroughly reflect on using audience network, yes or no. I most of the times used it until now, but from this moment on, take a look at this official quote from Facebook, which is not something that I've invented, which comes from facebook.com/business/news. So it's a very official information, and they say, we expect these changes will disproportionately affect audience network, given its heavy dependence on app advertising. Ultimately, and that's really, really interesting now, ultimately, despite our best efforts, Apple's updates may render audience network so ineffective on iOS 14 that it may not make any sense to offer it on iOS 14. So really thoroughly think about if you should keep using audience network or not. And what I do is in all my campaigns that I specifically target to Apple users, so the iOS users, I exclude audience network. And this brings me to the next topic. Yes, it's a strategy, it's something that you can test to really split, at least in your prospecting campaigns, iOS and Android campaigns, okay? In retargeting, you can still discuss to leave them together, but in prospecting, I mean, it's up to you. But if Apple says in their own newsroom, they say it's so ineffective that we should not even enable it anymore, so then why would you include it, right? And if you already split your iOS and Android campaigns, what I do now in prospecting is that you can really focus specifically on the iOS users and there exclude the audience network, for example. Next point is that it's to be discussed if the breakdowns are still going to be available to us or not, like breaking down by age, by gender. And they really say here that delivery and action breakdowns will not be supported for off-site conversion events. So it might be available, it might not, okay? What I recommend you is to be on the safe side and already download all of these reports and to make sure to not lose the data. To summarize, the 10-step checklist to get thoroughly prepared for iOS 14 is: first, check out the resource center and take all the actions there. Second, verify your domain. The easiest one was with the meta tag, okay? Then define the 8 events for your domain. And here, make sure that with your pixel management, you know that you can only have 1 pixel per domain, okay? In order to also prevent the upcoming update from Google, already be on the safe side with Conversions API, which can be easily installed with the server side-based tracking. And the new attribution window, unfortunately, the 28 days view and click is gone. Also the 7 days view attribution is gone. So we only have 1 or 7 days click and maximum 1 day view. But in order to still be able to track properly, I recommend you to depend more on Google Analytics from now on. And in order to make that work, you need the UTMs activated on ad level. And what we have seen is that the audience network might be so ineffective on iOS devices that I from now on excluded there. And another strategy that you can do is to split Android and iOS campaigns from now on, and to be on the safe side, save all your breakdowns, because nobody can guarantee how long they're still gonna be available. Now, after we have understood exactly what this iOS 14 update is about and what are the action items that we can do, we can go one step further and understand how to apply the full funnel strategy there now. So the full funnel strategy, all of you know it already, guys, like branding, prospecting, retargeting, up and cross-selling, basically communicating different messages to different customers according to the current level in their customer journey. Okay, and the customer journey can be simple like this one, but it can also be as complicated as the one we see here. And obviously it's not necessary to communicate a specific message to each one of them here, but it's better to at least segment into these 3 or 4 categories and communicate different messages. For example, on branding, an emotional message, prospecting, a product related message, retargeting scarcity, fear of missing out, and on up and cross-sell level, you communicate loyalty. Okay. And how to apply this now to an e-commerce, lead generation, or info products funnel? Well, in e-commerce, to make sure to apply 0 friction, this means that you do not bring the traffic somewhere else, and there have long loading times, page load speed can be an issue, and especially you cannot track there anymore so well. So rather try to maintain the traffic within Facebook and Instagram. So in e-commerce, the future is definitely what's called Facebook Instagram shopping, so that directly inside the platform, they can select the product, add to the shopping cart, have their payment information already there, and also the shipping details. And without leaving the platform at any point of time, your user is going to be able to realize the entire purchase process. And you can also work with instant experience at a higher level funnel. With lead generation, instead of stealing the traffic from Facebook and bringing it to your own website, you should rather work with lead generation campaigns, right? So we have like the traffic campaign, engagement, and lead generation, where if the user sees the ad and clicks on it, he will see it will open up a form, okay, which is already pre-filled with some information. And this also works really well because the user never leaves the platform. And for retargeting, you can easily impact people, for example, that have opened the form but have not confirmed and have not sent all the details to you. Okay, so people have opened but have not sent the form, and that's a cool stage. And for infopreneurs, people who sell info products like myself, online courses, high ticket coaching, many of us and also many of you might have run successfully evergreen webinars, for example with Webinar Jam or Ever Webinar. And here the issue is that on these third-party platforms, you cannot track anything right now. Okay, so I rather would recommend to stop bringing the traffic there and rather maintain the traffic within Facebook and Instagram. So what I do, for example, is I switch to a strategy where I show short video nuggets, like for example, a 3-minute nugget, which already has a hook in the beginning to make it work as an ad, create some authority, some testimonials, but also some content, 3 minutes. And to the people who have watched the first 3 minutes, I run a retargeting campaign, so to say, and show them a second nugget of more content, 5 minutes, for example. And to the people who've watched the second video, at least for 75%, I show a third video. And to the ones who've watched the third video, at least 75%, I now run a lead generation ad to them, like for example, the one that opens up a form, and ask them for their email, their phone number, and then my closers call them. But it's a completely new strategy where you do not have to bring the traffic to an external page. Okay, you have maintained them inside the platform, and obviously the advantages are pretty clear. You can attribute perfectly fine. You have all the data inside the customized columns. You can retarget 100% fine. And guess what? Facebook is most likely going to reward that you do not steal the traffic from them, and therefore you're gonna pay lower CPMs. So all of these strategies make a lot of sense. And thank you very much for listening, and I hope this iOS 14 update was helpful for you. Muchas gracias. Que vaya muy bien. See you at the next one.